9
This
years
was
after.
9 years of eating
After
KFC.
Eating
Domino's.
KFC, I was a fat boy, 105 kilos. I had a double D and everything. I was like, who needs women when I can play with my own titties, you know? I was an addict, but not like obviously meth or ice. I was an addict with food.
It was the
I cried every day. Like, I forget that I'm blind. I wake up, it's like, panic, like, shit, I can't see anything. I wash my eyes.
Yeah.
And then realize, oh, you're blind. And that was 3 years. Like,
I don't have any tattoos.
You don't have any?
I have none, actually. Yeah, I've been thinking about getting one.
scared of needle.
You're scared of needles?
Nah, I can get tattoos for 10.
He has tattoos. He has tattoos everywhere.
Yeah. 12
Yeah,
hours
his
is
back.
my longest tattoo.
Yeah, he has a massive one in his back.
Yeah.
I was going to say, after knowing a bit about your story, scared of a little needle?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jack, it's good to see you. You're obviously off the knee brace, which is nice to see, or leg brace, whatever you call it.
I am. I don't know if I should be. But I'm sick of wearing it.
I feel like you're at a stage of professionalism where you probably know where your body's at, and if you feel like you would need to wear it, you'd probably wear it.
I'll wear it if I train, but that's the thing I sort of noticed.
I mean, you're not right now. You're just walking around, right?
Yeah,
So-
I feel fine walking around. And I've started my rehab in terms of, like, I've been doing a lot of blood flow restriction training.
Yep.
Have I told you about that?
You haven't told me that, but I have heard.
Have you ever done it?
I maybe have for my ACL. I'm not certain though.
Yeah, I think you'd remember. But you pretty much tourniquet your legs. And so it allows blood flow
Yeah, I think I did do it
from
once.
the arteries and prevents venous return. So you get a really big pump and a big
Hell yeah.
lactic build-up and it burns.
I think I did do it once, but like, I think I hated it, so I stopped doing it.
Yeah, it's painful.
Yeah, right.
Painful, but it's perfect for when you're injured because it kind of, in a way, gives the perception of lifting heavy weights without actually having to lift hefty weights.
Yes, I have heard that.
And
yeah.
you do high repetitions, short rest periods. So it's kind of like the right time and the place for it. But I think I've probably done 3 leg workouts on it now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just tried to go a little bit heavier each time. And the most recent time I actually pulled up really sore.
I mean, you're probably already squatting more than Liam.
I was teasing him yesterday, right? So I did a podcast with Ivan yesterday and we mucked up our schedule. So I was like halfway through a workout and they always tease me for like bailing on workouts like 3 exercises in or something. And I was like, you know what's funny though, boys? I'm still stronger than both of you. I don't even really train.
I actually had a question on that. So for like time restraints and all that sort of stuff, so you know how you might see a PT and they might give you a program and it might be like 2 sessions a week, 3 sessions a week, 4 sessions a week.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to do those sessions over, let's say, the whole week instead of the 2 days or the 4 days, is that still better than doing absolutely nothing, or is that like no benefit at all, or is it?
I think
like,
anything is always better than nothing.
that's what. I mean, that's my opinion too, but I know some people are super strict and some people won't actually step foot in a gym unless they have the time to do the whole workout. I'm like, well, if you have like time to do half the workout, surely it's better than not doing the workout at all.
Well, one of the things I like to say is like the perfect program on paper is not the perfect program in real life for most people, because unless you're, you know, it's all well and good to get nerdy on it and account for the exact amount of volume and progressive overload and you're tracking every single repetition, but that takes a pretty unique individual to be as disciplined to take all of those sets to the point of intensity of which they should have done and do it perfectly and, you know, calculate all their rest, and it doesn't really leave much room for life.
Correct.
You know, so there's many different ways to skin a cat.
Yes, absolutely. Anyway, we should probably get started.
We should probably get into it.
All right, so welcome to the Living Rewired, Apes Edition.
You want to try that again?
No. One take. We one take things here, Jack.
No, we don't. All right,
So-
and I need to confess.
Okay, go on.
So, guys, you may have heard, if you watched the recent podcast with Lucas at the very beginning, and I deliberately left that bit in there, where I was talking about how I had a recent fuck up, and I actually lost sleep over it, and I felt sick because our guest today, Kadek,
How you doing?
he joined us a bit over a week ago, and at that time, I didn't know the in-depth details of his story, and was blown away by the details. I personally walked away feeling a massive sense of inspiration, and it was just a very powerful conversation, and I think everybody could take something from it. And at the end of that conversation, I got home with such excitement and eagerness to start the editing process and get this onto air, to only discover that I clearly didn't press record, or I had done something wrong. So we had an hour and 45-minute conversation, and there was obviously a lot of authenticity in my questioning. I was pretty happy with it. We had some laughs as well. And so it's going to be tough to beat, but I think we can do it. Yeah. So obviously we're going to be coming at this conversation today from a slightly different angle. However, I still think the story will still deliver its power, because it's a pretty special one, man. So again, I'm sorry, brother.
That's all good.
I really, I really still am sweating on that one, but I appreciate you giving up your time again to come in and retell it.
Yeah, I actually don't think he misplaced it. I just think he went to edit it and realized that for the majority of it he was crying. So he just had to be like, I can't do this on Spotify.
It's not exactly a lie. It's not even a lie. Like, there were some moments where I was actually avoiding eye contact with you, Mikael, because I was like, I'm choking up here.
I was like looking up and stuff. Yeah, I was like,
I'm choking up.
I can't look at Jack.
I'm choking up.
Anyway, this is Kadek Atayana. And I've known him for a couple of years now. I met him just before COVID. It's not obvious because of how capable he is as a human being and as a person, but he is completely and totally vision impaired. He refers to himself in the jiu-jitsu world as the blind warrior. He's okay with being called blind. There's no
Balinese bear.
The Balinese bear. Yeah, he's got this. He has this Balinese grunt that he does sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's maybe my favorite thing about him these days, to be completely fair.
Can we get a demo?
Yeah, let's get a demo.
No. You have to like squash me to get it.
I mean, I can do that.
I just go, just to give me that extra power to get someone off me, you know? I don't know, I just started doing that like a few months ago. Like, it's weird, because it started with Jordan, actually, because he's like heavy, you know? He tried to smother me, so I just like...
Heavy, but with soft muscles.
Yeah, soft muscles. So I sort of just like went, and then I pushed him away, and he just launched, and I'm like, oh shit, that worked.
Yeah, you got it in you, brother. Those Turkish get-ups.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just feels good to make some noises too, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also like, it probably does help with like the exhaling, like they tell you when you're doing any like kind of like sprinting or like heavy lifts.
Sure.
In the grunting, and I think so, at least. I think like from experience, you know, I feel like if someone was like, lift this weight off the ground, and I wasn't confident that I could do it without like exhaling or grunting, I would do it, and I'd hopefully be able to lift the weight off the ground.
Yeah, you know, I've got a different perspective on it.
Really? Tell me.
Like, there's nothing that annoys me more than the excessive grunter in the gym. It's like
excessive is
first
different.
rep in the set. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I appreciate effort, and some noises are going to come with that. But when it's from rep number one, or even if it is a singular effort, if you're grunting and exhaling and you're doing it too early, you're kind of losing that combustion. You're kind of losing that intra-abdominal pressure that actually translates into force. Do you get what I'm saying? So maybe we could call it a premature grunt.
Yeah.
You've been talking about premature things recently.
I've been talking about a lot of premature things lately, haven't I?
Is there something you got to share with the class?
No.
No.
Nope. You'll have to ask Lucy.
Anyway, like, we'll get to it. So, Kadek, if you're happy to share your story again, from the start, where are you from?
So,
like, what's your experience? What brought you to jiu-jitsu? All that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So I was born in Bali. Spent first 10 years of my life there, and growing up was different than here. That's for sure. Like, I never knew there's skyscrapers exist. You know, like we surrounded by like jungles and trees and all that. You know,
in the kampong.
So
right?
yeah. In the
village.
The village, and the place where tourists don't really see in Bali. You know,
because
they think, oh, Bali's full of resort, this, that, and yoga retreat. If you go just explore outside of that, it's a different part of Bali that not a lot of people will see, you know. That's where I come from, and like, yeah, so to get there, you probably have to know people, you know. So a lot of tourists that goes to my village is a friend with someone from there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the way I grew up. Like, we didn't have much growing up, so yeah. And,
yeah. So tell us, how did the incidents and the traumas happen from childhood, and as well as what brought you to Australia?
yeah, so I'm totally blind, and I lost my sight in two separate occasions. Like, the first one was my left. That was just before I came here at the age of 10. Like, I was cutting up a fruit, papaya actually, and the papaya wasn't right, and then tried to pull the knife out and just swung back, and just got me right there.
It's actually disgusting every time I like
Yeah,
try and
yeah,
envision it.
it is disgusting because at the moment, like, eyeball is like egg, right?
Yeah.
So once you crack, all this yolk come out. It's exactly like that. Like, imagine the egg cracking, like, so like the knife just obviously pieced and got stuck actually in the eyes.
Yeah, I can't even like
Yeah.
I wear glasses and I can't actually wear contacts
Yeah.
because I can't physically touch my eyeball. I
Yeah.
think it's actually like, can you touch your eyeball? Is that gross?
No, I can do it.
I can't do it, man. I'm like fucking shaking and shit. Like, I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine like if someone if someone wants to get information out of me, if you pin me down, if you put like
Eye
something
gouge.
close to my eye, I'm like, I'll fucking tell you anything you want. I'll give up on the spot.
You little lagger.
yeah. Like, no, just don't touch my eyes.
Yeah,
But man, actually, with that though, what actually led up to you finding the papaya? Wasn't there a girl involved here with flowers?
yeah. So
Always a girl.
Like I said, like I grew up, didn't have a lot, you know, like food wise, and I was hungry, and obviously I didn't have a mum and a dad, you know, like everyone else, and the girl in her land had papaya tree, and I seen one that's ready to eat, you know. I thought it was ready, and I asked her, and she was picking up flowers for ceremonies because we're Hindu in Bali. And I said, I'll pick all the flowers if you let me have your papaya. So she said yes. So I picked it and got the papaya, and then it's not ripe yet. So I was like, screw it, I'm hungry. You know, so cut it up, and the knife just got stuck in there. Yeah, the way the knife was is like the top bit is like really sharp. You know, like a pin.
yeah.
So as it swung back, it just literally got me nearly in the middle of my eye.
And and what happened next?
So the knife got stuck in there, and I'm like, oh fuck, what do I do? I was this 10-year-old kid, and the
Can
only
you
thing.
remember the pain?
Oh yeah. I don't know how to explain it. It's just yeah. I would rather get tattooed for 20 hours straight than getting stabbed in the eyeballs. You know.
I think I would too.
Yeah. I actually don't think there's anything.
But
worse.
like
Can't
somebody
imagine
actually
it.
asked me this the other day. How did it feel like getting stabbed? I said, getting stabbed doesn't hurt. It's just when you pull the knife out, that really hurt. To me, anyway. Like, you know, that really. So I walked down to, because the place where it happened is behind the school where I went, because that's where my uncle and auntie live. So, and then near there's a nursing stage, like where a nurse lived for our village, you know. So I walked there, and then went to her door, pulled the knife out. I think I shouldn't have done that, and I just collapsed on the floor. And then the nurse like, oh shit, and she asked me what happened. I just said I got stabbed, and then I couldn't stop vomiting after that. It just continuously, a couple of hours actually, I just vomiting because just the pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen Kadek vomit before at a jiu-jitsu tournament, and
Before we go to that, though, can you delve into two things
Yeah.
for the listeners in the story? Because you said, you know, you were 10 years old when the incident happened, and that you were out looking for food and things because you didn't really have parents. Can you explain, because you were about 3 years old?
Yeah.
When that situation changed?
Yeah, my parent left when I was 3. My dad came here. God knows where my mum went. And so they dropped me off in my village with my grandparents. So I was raised by them. Like, honestly, it was the best. Like, we didn't have much, but the love and the lesson that they taught me, like having nothing, you can't get that anywhere in the world, you know.
it's priceless.
It's priceless.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I I always acknowledge the way I am today is because of my grandparent. They taught me everything that I need to know about life, you know, especially my granddad, and just the love. It's not like the love we get in a Western nation. It's just the love that then they're there, you know, and we have to do a lot. We have to do our chores because my granddad had prostate cancer. We have to take care of him as well, you know, but I wouldn't change anything. Like, I love the way I was raised in Bali, to be honest. Like, it made me who I am today.
Yeah, for sure.
And Kadek, when you've obviously, you got this knife in your eye.
Yeah. I could just picture it right now, actually.
It took a while to get the knife out, yeah?
No, you just pull it out.
No, but like you went to like the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. You didn't pull it. You didn't get the knife and pull it out straight away.
So I was holding it, and then I walked, and then I pulled it out once I got there. Like, I should have just let it be.
So you pulled it out yourself?
Yeah.
When you got to hospital?
The nursing in our village, the nursing house. It's like she lives in a house, like, but she's the nurse of our village type of thing, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, and then from there we went to the hospital.
And what was that process like?
We didn't have ambulance, so they just threw me in the back of somebody's like I guess we call it a ute here, you know, like obviously
small lorry, right?
Yeah. Like, you just drop me in the back of that and vomit, and then went to Bangli Hospital my district, and then they didn't know what to do with me, and then from there I went with an ambulance to the main city, which is Denpasar, Sangla Hospital in the city. That's when but I think by then it was too late. Like, they could, it was like a couple of hours by then. Like, I think they could have saved my eyes, like, from what I've been told. But obviously, the process in a third world country is different. So I lost my sight. Yeah,
we spoke about that last time. How even in more recent years, I've been in a Balinese hospital with Bali belly, and it was questionable care to say the least. So to imagine that 20 years ago, would have been pretty scary for you as a 10-year-old.
Yeah, it was very, very scary, but. Fortunately, I had my grandmother. That's the one lady that refused to leave by my side. Like, she refused to leave me there alone. You know, she was my everything then. Like, she took care of me. She bathed me. She fed me in the hospital.
Effectively, your mother.
Yeah.
She showed you your mother's love.
Yeah, she showed me your mother's love. Yeah.
I have two questions that I've actually never asked you.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that girl again? With the
papa? Oh yeah.
Are you guys friends?
No, I haven't seen them. They're my Balinese friends since then. Like, since I left the country, you know. Yeah.
And the next thing was, and it actually even like disgusts me asking, because I actually don't. But I'm curious.
Yeah.
When you are like when there's trauma to the eye.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that there's like potentially tears.
Yeah.
Can you cry whilst like that? There's something in your eye. Is that even is that possible?
Yeah. The tears still come because you're the tears is like
from the back.
From the back, yeah.
Yeah. So you're bleeding and there's tears.
Yeah, and there's tears. Yeah, and then I cried and
yeah.
Was there much blood? Because you explained
it was just this like gooey thing. It's a lot of that.
But is there a lot of blood as well or no?
Nah.
Really?
Nah.
Only I think there'd be blood in the eyeball.
In the eyeball, nah.
Well, so it literally only hit you in the eyeball and nothing else?
Nothing else, bro. Literally got me there. Like, that's how bad luck it is. Like, out of imagine like the odd of that, right? Like, getting it right in the middle of your eyeball, like.
No, yeah.
It's crazy, bro. Like, I still have a scar there. Like, it goes across the eye. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any questions?
No, I'm just
based on that.
How long after, obviously, the incident?
Yeah.
Do you feel like your eye took to recover in terms of the pain from the sharp trauma?
Yeah.
Because I know that you still feel some pain now, but is it that in that eye or your other eye?
Both.
Or both?
Yeah. Both. It's both. So it took a couple of months to recover. Like, but I didn't care because I could see out of one anyway. Like, that one, I was fine. Like, mentally, I was fine because, like, I still got the other eye. And then I came here, maybe nearly a year after that, you know? Not quite a year, but yeah, came here, lived my life, started playing footy. Like, then there's food, so I didn't have to cut a lot of stuff. You won't get hungry here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And,
yeah, some supermarkets exist.
Yeah. I was like, well, you can get chicken in this just like that. I'm like, we have to catch the chicken and then kill it, you know. Like, but you have to have chicken first to do that. But over here, you just go to the supermarket, get chicken, get fruit, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And am I correct in saying that? So Kadek also lost sight in his other eye.
Yeah.
And that the chances of you doing that, you were better off to win a lottery
Lottery,
ticket.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Would you like to talk about
Yeah, so
the second,
that was
or like how life came that way, and
yeah.
then
So
and put you in that situation?
yeah. When I was here, like obviously I have a rough childhood, and I left home young, you know. So I started like grew up in a. It's different than everyone else, you know. Like there's a lot of mental abuse going on. No, no, like they being my stepmom and my dad probably is in denial about that, but yeah, there was a lot of shit like that with me and my sisters growing up there. It wasn't a good childhood. Like we always thought we always done something wrong, you know. So we all of us left.
Just living on edge, sort of
Yeah, living on
scenarios.
edge, and then you
Yeah.
don't know. Like we're just sitting there with my sisters talking. Next minute you get a yelling, you know, you piece of shit, this, that, and I'm
He would
like,
call you that? Your mom
my
or
stepmom,
she would
and
call
my
you
dad,
that?
yeah, my dad would hit me.
He would hit you?
Yeah. So a lot of shit like that. So we all left home young, and they all told us we're gonna be nothing, you know. Like all right. So I left home. So it was rough at the beginning, sleeping in your car, you know. But then I did it.
This was in Australia.
Was back in Perth.
Yep.
I grew up there, and yeah. So I was like, all right, what am I gonna do myself? I left school. Wasn't good at it, but what I was good at was building stuff, you know. So I got myself a job in the construction, got myself an apprenticeship of that. Had a really good boss while I did my apprenticeship. He taught me family, you know, because he always worked 7 to 3. That's it. Because he said I gotta go home because I have family, and
Yeah.
I learned a lot from him. And that's the only people I'm still in contact from that life. Him and his wife, you know. And then he taught me a lot about values and everything else, and he taught me a lot about girls as well.
What did he tell you?
Huh?
What did he tell you? Jack needs to know some tips.
No, he just told me like I remember one instant like I worked extra on a Saturday. He gave me cash and I was like, oh, just go take the girl that I was seeing that time on a date, you know. And
That's
so,
that's a nice
yeah,
boss.
yeah, that's a nice it's
It's a nice thing to do to a friend.
yeah, exactly. And then so yeah, he taught me a lot about that, and then taught me a lot about carpentry as well, and then yeah, got myself sorted in life, you know. Like I had this beautiful
Things were feeling pretty good.
yeah, things feeling very good for the first time. Like I was like, you see that motherfucker, I could do it. Like told me I'm gonna be nothing. You know, I got myself an apprenticeship, got myself a partner, and yeah, life was pretty good. And then one night we went October 1st. I got a message after work from a friend. It's like, oh, there's this new place in the city that's opening up. You know, want to check it out? So I said, oh, nah, I got work tomorrow. You know, that was a Friday night. And then my girlfriend came home and she's like, oh, just let's go out for a bit. I said, all right, I'll do the driving and you guys do whatever, you know. And then so we went to the place, parked the car, went inside. It was pretty busy, so it was 2 guys from school, one of the guy's sister, one girl from school, and my girlfriend and myself.
This was still in Perth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is in Perth, and then went out, and the boys went out for a smoke. I was just chilling inside with the girls just to keep an eye on things, you know. Like, no dickheads spike their drinks or whatever, because there's a lot of spiking back then, or still is going on right now. And I got a message from one of the boys, like, oh, we gotta go. I say, oh, really? What happened? They say, oh, we gotta move on notice. I'll tell you when you get outside. So I told the girls we gotta go, and we went outside, and it was two of my friend there, and the police, and a couple of other guys. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? It's like we were just smoking out here, and yeah, we were smoking, and the guys just hit us from behind, you know. So we defended ourselves, and from that, the security broke it up, called the police, and got a move on notice. And I said, all right, time to go home. So yeah, and as we were walking, two girls was walking in front, me and my girlfriend in the middle, and 2 boys was in the back. And all of a sudden, I heard all this noise, and I turned around, the boys was just getting bashed, you know, by like at least 15, 20 people.
And there were cops around.
There was 2 cops there. They didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely, they did not do nothing, and that's the sad story. I was like, told the girls just go run. I turned around, like jump in the middle of that, and pulled one of the boys out because he was getting stomped, and he went. The other boys went, and I was surrounded, and yeah, and then someone just out of nowhere smashed glass into my right eye, and then just smashed inside.
Yeah.
And then I fell on the floor. The only thing I could do is protect your head, you know? Like, it's just blood in your eyes. It's like, protect your head. And so I did, and then all I could hear is my girlfriend at the time yelling, "You fucking dickhead, like, you weak piece of shit." And then started yelling at the police, and all I could hear the police like, "Calm down or we'll arrest you." And I'm like, "Fuck you." And all I could yell is, "Babe, just calm down. You don't want to get arrested. You got uni and all that, you know." So we all calmed down, and then the blood was like, because obviously got skin cut too. Blood was dripping down my face, and I'm like, "Oh, I got blood in my eyes. I can't see anything," you know. And someone said, "Oh, I just think it's just blood." And I was like, "All right." Got an ambulance, went in there, and then went to hospital there, waited for a while for the doctor, and he looked at it and he stayed quiet. And I'm like, "Oh, shit, I knew that wasn't going to be good." And then he came in, he's like, "Oh, yeah, you're blind." I'm like, "What?" "I'm blind." Yeah, that was it. I'm blind, and I didn't know how to take it then. I was just in shock. Like,
You're just a kid, man. You're 20, right?
20, yeah. Like, I thought I did pretty well for myself getting out of shitty home situation, you know, like, why this happened to me? Like, what did I do? What did I done, you know, like, what I mean? And I guess just the way my life was supposed to be. So, yeah, and from that moment, that's when I fell into really, really deep depression. And, yeah, my medication was KFC, McDonald's, Domino's, and Hungry Jack's.
Which was the best medicine?
KFC.
Still love that fried chicken.
Still love that fried chicken. Yeah. Like,
but man, how did you, like you said, you don't really know what to do, like how to process that. Like,
yeah.
How did you? Like, you're obviously in the hospital. You've been told you're blind. You're still in Perth.
So
you were doing that, protecting someone.
Yeah. So one by one, like, all my friends disappeared. You know, like that hurt the most out of anything, to be honest.
I can imagine. I mean, considering
I protected someone that I grew up with. I didn't just know these guys. I grew up with them.
I mean, they were like family to you.
Yeah, exactly. And then I got their back, and they all one by one just walked off. And and I thought at the time, my partner that stayed with me is like, "Holy shit, this girl loved me like nothing else," you know. So I was like, "Oh, screw everyone else. I got this girl. That's all I need," you know. I keep telling myself that. But
and were you living with her?
Yeah, we were living together, and then just kept eating. Really, like, did nothing for literally nothing for 9.5 years. I did nothing.
Yeah, when I first met Kadek was at the tail end of that 9.5 years, and he found jiu-jitsu. So from what I know, he tried to like join a blind community. He tried to join the church. A lot of places.
Everywhere, just trying to.
I wouldn't say they turned you away, but they let you down. Yeah. Right. So
they let me down.
So like the blind community, from what I hear, if you're not born blind, they treat you quite differently. Which
it's different. Like, everyone have their own
and I guess,
clique, you know.
And like I guess that's the same with like friendship groups. I can't remember the story in the church, but he found jiu-jitsu and. He pretty much, I think he called up Absolute, or you came in. Did you? No,
I came in. I came in. Absolute MMA, yeah.
And I put my hand up to give it a shot at teaching him, and I remember hearing the story, and saying, "You seem like a pretty selfless person, and you kind of tick all the boxes for what I think a martial artist should be." So I immediately called like management and was like, "Look, there's this guy that should never have to pay to train. Like, he should just be a lifetime member. Like." As long as like he's not doing fucking dodgy things, you dodgy fuck. But like he's just like a regular dude, and he just wants to be a part of a community. And I'm glad that I managed to sort that out for him, because now he's training full time. He's pretty much full time athlete, blue belt, just like yourself. Sorry, did you want to say something before?
Yeah, I just wanted to just go through the details there a little bit more. So you're in Perth.
Yeah.
You're living with your girlfriend, and you know, I imagine it's taken you quite a while to become a little bit more dependent in terms of like learning how to use your stick and
I refuse to use my cane actually.
Yeah, and what to do.
Apparently you can't call it a stick.
Nah,
stick.
I'm sorry.
I called it a stick for like years, and he was like, you know, people call it canes, right? I was like, fuck.
All right, I feel a bit better that you called it a stick too.
For me, like I'm fine with that, but there is a lot of blind people out there who
get upset about the word
really
stick.
get upset.
Jack's gonna get cancelled in the blind community.
In the blind, like
you're the only blind guy I know, bro.
You know, honestly, some blind people don't like to be called vision impaired as well.
What do they like to be called?
Just blind. Like,
okay, cool.
I don't know. Like for me, I don't really care.
I mean,
you know?
I prefer to use the word
Yeah.
blind because it's like it's very like, I guess, like dictionary
Impaired
based.
sounds like a disability more.
I think so, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's also like degree. I mean, I guess there's degrees of blindness, but
there's degrees.
It feels like vision impaired means like you could just be sensitive to light or
not
something.
be great.
Yeah,
exactly.
I guess I'm vision impaired. I wear glasses. So.
I guess you are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But bro, you said your girlfriend eventually that became a pretty toxic relationship.
Yeah, so that wasn't really good relationship. So in 2019, she said that she got a job in Melbourne. So I was like, maybe that'd be a good start. You know?
This was 9 years after.
2019. So 9 years. Yeah.
So
This
9
was
years
9 years of eating KFC.
Eating
Domino's.
KFC, I was a fat boy, 105 kilos. I had a double D and everything. I was like, who needs women when I can play with my own titties, you know? You know, I was a fat, like I was really fat, and I was like, oh shit, like extra large, and I'm like,
you sound like you miss it, bro.
In a way, I'm missing KFC. Nah, that was a dark time, and it was a toxic relationship, and then all of a sudden she left, and I'm like, what the fuck? And
you're in Melbourne now, though?
Yeah, I was in Melbourne now, in Paran actually, High Street.
Just
and I was
around
like,
the corner.
Yeah, around the corner. She left, and I'm like, fuck happened? You know, like it was. I realized.
So what did your day look like? Like I know
Back then?
what did your day look like then?
I wake up, eat KFC, eat McDonald's, go to sleep. That was
Just
my
getting
day.
those dopamine hits.
Yeah. That was it. Like I was an addict, but not like obviously meth or ice. I was an addict with food. You know?
It was the vice to keep the dopamines and serotonin.
The food was your distraction. I mean, listen to music.
I cried it like for the first 3 years since I lost the right side. I cried every day. Like I forget that I'm blind. You know, like I wake up, it's like panic, like shit, I can't see anything. I wash my eyes.
Yeah.
And then realize, oh, you're blind. And that was 3 years. Like I panic a lot.
Because you'd go to sleep, you dream.
Yeah.
And because you've seen before, you know how
so
things look.
The way I cope was just eating. That's just my coping. Eating, and that's it. Nothing else. Literally, my day for 9.5 years is like literally wake up, eat, go to sleep, wake up, eat. 9 years. Repeat, you know? Yeah. And that was it.
I think the comfort vice for me would be food, like shitty foods as well, to be completely honest. I know it's not for you, is it?
Yeah.
Like you have a pretty good diet and you're not really food driven or motivated.
Yeah, no, I'm probably more likely going to turn to drugs.
Yeah.
If I was dark, like COVID, I kind of did that in a way, like a kind of in a way when we initially got told that it was like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, I was.
They cock teased you with the 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I was, and I kind of took the path of, oh, you know what? I never do what I just want to do. I'm always working hard.
Yeah.
Always caring about my fitness. I'm always caring about business. I'm just gonna party.
Were you partying by yourself?
No, I was usually partying with people, but you know, like what goes up must come down. And then when you realise that your business wasn't opening back up, and you're kind of in that hole, it was.
It's a dangerous spot to be in.
You know, that's more, you know,
it's
the loop that I could find myself on.
Well, it's a super dangerous spot to be in because the things that you would do to keep you up outside of the drugs are now illegal on the planet. And like I didn't take drugs. I didn't take any bad drugs during the lockdown.
Yeah.
But I had to have other vices. You know, I was playing video games. I was like just being like a fuck ass with the guy, like eating whatever the fuck. Like, I was working out at home, and I had the second lockdown. I had exemption to train, but it was a fucking horrible time for like. My purpose of being an athlete and coach was completely nullified to zero. Right? It would have been hard for you. I genuinely can't imagine what it would have been like for you. It would have been fucking horrible.
But you know the thing with what I'm thinking about, right, is that I'm just trying to put myself in his shoes.
Yeah.
That even if it's socially, it's deliberate, it's been planned, and you've had a big weekend. There's something to celebrate.
Yeah.
You know, not that these things happen as regularly today, but there's always been that thought of I need to go home because I got to go to work on Monday. I got shit to do.
Yeah.
But when you've got nothing to stop for,
Different.
that's kind of the mindset. It's like, well, why would I stop? I got nothing to stop for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine the magnification of that circumstance in your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was difficult because like when my ex left, I was like, what am I doing now? Like, why do I want to live? I have nobody, you know what I mean? Like, why am I here? Like, I didn't want to be here. Like, fuck it. Like, no one's gonna miss me. Like, I'm just like a piece of rubbish that everyone threw away once they're done. You know, that's what I was genuinely feel.
And when you're down, it's very easy to like stay down and not pick yourself back up, especially in such a dark place.
Yeah. So fortunately, like I'm still here today. Like I ended up in Alfred after that on a suicide watch. 5 weeks. That was the loneliest time of my life. Like in that hospital, they put me in a psych ward, literally with people who trying to stab you.
And when you say they put you there, do you mind actually going into the detail of how you actually found yourself?
Yeah, so I attempted suicide on July 5th,
In your house?
In an apartment, actually. And then there's one girl that I had a contact with, and the only way I could use my phone is just press the green button, and that her number would come up. She's actually low vision, and I told her, like, look, like thank you, and like say she's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like I just don't know what to do, So basically just say goodbye to all the people. Like I was like, they don't give a shit. My family don't even give a shit if I die anyway, And then she noticed something wrong, and then she called the police, And then that's when I just sat by the balcony. I was like, okay, I think I'm ready. And that's when the police came in and like, oi, what are you doing?
Literally that time?
Yeah.
Right, so you might have gone through with it.
Yeah, I was going through. Yeah. And
oh, shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah. At that moment, I was like, I'm ready. And then police like, what are you doing? I said, I'm done, mate.
Yeah.
I said, no. What got me is when one of the police say, think about all the kids that is down there. Imagine to see your head smashed in. You think they're going to live a normal life? And that's what it got me.
Yeah.
And then the police...
I feel like that also could have not worked too, though.
Yeah, and that got me. And then both of the police came up to me and hugged me. Both of them.
Yeah.
I wish I remember who they were. Like, I remember.
Yeah, man. Like, that's such a... Like, it's actually, like, a really beautiful part from both ends, from your end and their ends.
It wasn't meant to happen, man.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, not only that, like, the police in 2010 was a dickhead, and to the police now, Like, it's different. So I realized.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, it's really easy to like generalize police.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, I know like police officers that are like awesome. I actually don't know any like police officers that I actually dislike.
Yeah.
But I have like run into police officers that I'm like, you're just obviously that kid that just wanted to be like a dickhead to other people.
Yeah. So they were hugging, and I'm like, started bawling my eyes out. Like, you young man, you got so much to live for. It's like, nah, I don't have nothing, man. Like. I remember it right now, like, imagining it in my head right now, like, I remember that moment, like, there's nothing to live for, and then they convinced me, nah, you got plenty to live for, just be strong, we're going to call ambulance and take you to the hospital. So that's when the ambulance came, went to Alfred and saw a psychiatrist, and I was like, talk, and then they're like, all right, you need to be in the suicide watch, you're in high risk right now,
Yeah.
So, like, do you have any families? Like, no, but I do, like, yes, but you can call, they're not going to do anything. And I was right, they didn't do anything, Called my dad, and he's like, oh, no, I got work. It's like, see, I told you. You don't care. Like, if
it almost makes that situation worse, huh? Like,
yeah, like, he don't care. So, and then,
like a big part of, like, your motivation is...
Yeah.
And, like, it's... I don't know how to, like word this to make it sound... I guess just or like the best, but I know a lot of your motivation comes from the resentment that you have towards your dad, and like trying to prove him wrong. Like he does live in your head, right? And at the end of the day, he is your dad. Right? He's like he might not be a part of your life, but he's a part of your birthing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I would never ever forget back in 2010, both of my stepmom and my dad stood there and said I was blind and my life is over. That I will never forget that moment. And until this day, like, that motivates me. If I feel down and shitty,
fuck those guys.
I just don't understand
Fuck
that.
those guys,
What is the motivation?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of saying that?
behind
Exactly.
that statement?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And I will never forget that, like that word. And I'm like, you know what? Like, every time I feel down, like, nah, fuck those motherfuckers. You watch me. You watch me one day, You watch me.
He's trying to prove them wrong.
Yeah,
Dude.
and then so I ended up in the psych ward for 5 weeks, and that was difficult because I was the only patient there that never had a visitor.
That's the thing that nearly made me cry last
Yeah,
time.
that was the only one. Like, what am I doing? Like the nurse, like, bless the nurse. Like, nurses are incredible.
Yeah, they really are, man.
And
did you ever end up, Jack, asking your sister if she had?
No, not yet. I'm gonna get her to watch.
Yeah, okay,
watch
cool.
this afterwards.
Yeah, so I ended up just sitting there by the window, and then this Irish nurse, she always will bring me coffee, like flat white. That's what's my coffee then. Like, every single morning when she's on shift, I will never forget her name, Sarah. If you're listening, Sarah, hello. She's an Irish nurse. Every single morning, every time she's on shift, she always get my coffee.
Yeah.
And she's like, just like amazing. There's her, and there's another Irish nurse, Christine. One time, Christine and Sarah, because they come from Ireland, same area, and they got both same accent. They try to play a trick on me, like, "Oh, I'm Sarah." Like, "No, you're not. You're Christine." It's like, how do you know? Like, you guys smell different, perfume. Like, "Oh, we didn't think of that." It's like, duh.
But I think that's one of the cool things we touched on last time is that you may have lost your sight, but you obviously have superior senses than probably what I do.
Yeah. So exactly. And they didn't realize that. Yeah, but if it wasn't for the nurse, like, I'll be probably having a really, really hard time there. And I sat there and I'm like, you know what? What are you doing, Kadek? Like this is not on. Like, you want to end your life for what?
Yeah.
So I decided, like, that moment, I never ever want to end up in this place ever again in my life.
Yeah.
Ever. I don't want to be there anymore. What I want to do is help people to get out of there,
There was a situation from bringing back that competition when he started vomiting again.
Yeah.
Where he had not a meltdown because of the pain, but he had a meltdown because I was like, you have to go to hospital. And he was like, I don't want to go to hospital. I don't get stuck there. Yeah. And I was like, it's a Sunday. There's no clinics open. Anyway, that's a story for later.
Yeah.
But just quickly on, like, the topic of senses. Obviously, like, you lost your sight.
Yeah.
And your sense of smell and hearing is exceptional.
Yeah.
How much better is it? Obviously, I've heard your phone talk to you, and it speaks to it speaks to
Oh,
it
that's wild.
at like 10 times speed.
I cannot believe
it's
that.
on 100% right now because I don't know, like, people think, oh, is it automatic?
Can we try and play that?
Yeah, no,
on the microphone.
Actually, yeah.
I'm gonna send you a text.
Yeah.
All right. And
Hold that up near the mic, Kadek.
Yeah.
Go other side, on your left side. Yep.
And you tell me
There.
what it says.
Yeah. Put it on full volume.
1 second. All right. You tell me exactly what it says. Say everything that it said.
Ace together. What is it? Ace together. Ace together. What? It's hard to hear in the headphone. Oh, strong ace together. Is that?
Apes strong. Apes together strong.
Yeah.
Apes together strong.
Yeah.
And does it say, like, my name and the time and stuff before that?
It's just, Mikael, yeah.
How does it say my name?
You hear it? Mikael. No?
I can hear the apes together strong now.
Yeah.
But I've heard your phone many times in our friendship.
But you keep it on those settings.
Yeah, I keep it. So no one, like, if I'm in public, no one can understand except for me.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your sense of smell.
Yeah.
And last week we spoke about what the topics you're attracted to now because you've lost.
This is what was making me think of it because you're attracted to voices.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then
big time.
one of these nurses
Does Jack sound
started
handsome?
playing-
Yeah.
He sounds handsome?
I think I've got a nice voice. I like my voice.
I think you have a nice voice too.
I actually hate my voice though when I listen to it back. For example, yesterday I had Ivan on the podcast, and he's got his beautiful Portuguese voice, and I'm like, fuck, man, you sound like such a bogan. Aussie bogan. It's like when you've been travelling overseas and you haven't seen an Aussie for ages, and then all of a sudden you're in a hostel and you're like, oh, there's the Aussie. You can hear him from over there. Yeah, it's different. That uncultured bastard. But voices is what you now feel really attracted to.
Yeah, I'm attracted to that.
And wasn't there one that was really old? That was she obviously had a nice voice.
Oh yeah, like I went to this gelato place in Ackland Street in St Kilda one time.
Oh, this wasn't in the hospital.
Oh no, it was a different one.
Yeah, right.
So this one was in the one in the ice cream place, and I was like, oh, she got a nice voice, and my friend's like, mate, she's like at least in her 60s, and I'm like, oh, really? But her voice is so damn sexy. And like, oh, you can go for it. It's like, oh.
Did you go for it? Did you try?
No.
No?
No. You know I'm shy with that.
I don't know, bro. I don't know, but you've been fucking razzing chicks up for like papaya since you were 10.
Another incident when I was in Alfred was like at the end of my stay there, this lady from Guard Dogs Victoria came in, and she just audio describing herself like, oh, she got long black hair, she got nice olive skin. And I was like, imagining in my head, oh, wow, she's a hottie. And she's like, oh, no, man, I don't look like that. I'm in my 50s, white girl. Like, oh, all right. I was just kidding with you. I was like, oh, that was the first time I laughed, you know. I was like, oh, this lady's funny. And that lady means a lot to me.
Yeah, it's nice to see you.
She's the one who helped me
with
my really?
cane training, everything.
Is she still a part of?
Yeah, she's still. Yeah.
So it was really around 2009 when you started getting skillful with the cane.
19, yeah. 2019 August actually. And
what did I say?
9.
2019. Sorry.
Yeah. In 2019, started learning with my cane from. Yeah, it was difficult. Like, oh, I can't do this, Mandy. But Mandy keep pushing me. Oh, yes, you can. Like. We started from my studio apartment to just to go outside, up the steps and into the mailbox, you know, and then from there to the driveway, to the other end of the driveway, and I'm like, okay. And then in the end, we got to the end of the street, around the corner from the street, and then crossing the traffic light, and I'm like, no, I can't do this. But we did it. 3 months later, we ended up in, what's that station? In Flinders Street. I went there by myself, and I'm like, I'm so proud of it. I posted on Facebook, oh, I made it. And everyone's like, oh, it's like I didn't die. I didn't get abused.
No, it's important, man.
Yeah. And you just said that you didn't get abused. And, man, that was one of the things that fucking blew my mind last week, dude. Is the fact that you've had people try and fight you and abuse you for accidentally bumping into them with the stick when they've been homeless or junkies on the street. The
cane.
No, dude, I literally called it for like over a year, man. Sometimes I'll still call it a stick.
Yeah, and it's an easy target, isn't it, to make someone feel uncomfortable with the joke.
No, it's just the way St Kilda is, you know, like especially during COVID, like, and then you hit like because there's a lot of homeless sleeping by the wall and all that, you know.
And I need 3182.
And I need the wall obviously to guide myself, and obviously you're gonna hit people, and then you get abused. Oh, you blind, C-word, and blind this, and I'm like, oh, relax, mate. I'm just trying to get at a tram stop, you know.
Yeah, the most ridiculous things that I have to worry about him when I'm like walking him home and stuff and walking in places is bins just out of place, and also the fucking Lime bikes and Lime scooters. You know, you can just park them anywhere.
Oh yeah,
like that is such a fuck around for him and his guide dog to try and get around. Like,
have you eaten shit a few times?
Huh?
Have you fallen over?
Nah. Jiu-jitsu helped me a lot with my balance. And actually, like my neighbor and I, we actually petitioned for those scooters not to be parked in my street, and I was successful.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, like the app will tell them that they can't park them along the street.
Yeah. So that was 2 days ago. Like,
that's pretty cool.
Look at that, and then they're gonna extend the traffic light. You know, the one to cross to the gym.
Yeah.
Longer because it wasn't long enough because there's so many times I nearly got hit by a car there.
Oh, dude, there was this one time where I was furious at this ambulance. So, you know, on the corner.
And it was an ambulance.
Yeah, I mean, out of everything that could have hit him, that's the best thing.
Yeah.
All right. but like
They
it
just
would have
stop and
fucked.
put you back in.
It would have fucking cleaned. No, so it was like an ambulance coming down Grey Street, and we were crossing Barclay by Inkerman and Barclay, right? And it had its sirens on, and as it hits the four-way intersection, that's when the Barclay lights go green, and like the wee is still on, but as it hits the intersection, it stops as it clears past, and his dog is guided to like once that stops, they're out of the way, and then when there's the ding 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 from the fucking
From the
cross.
street.
Yeah, from the cross to cross. So I had to fully be like, yo, don't cross. There's a fucking ambulance like going at like 60.
Oh yeah. So the dog took off.
The dog.
Yeah.
Well, the dog took off because it's trained to, because the sirens
lights
are
were-
off.
Yeah.
And the lights thing's going.
And the lights is
And
green,
I was
yeah.
like, right there, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, why did they not just keep the sirens on for like another 2 seconds?
Yeah, just to cross
I
it.
was like, come on, guys, like
yeah.
I know that you might not necessarily be aware there's a blind person around, but at least like get to where you need to cross before you turn the fucking shit off, dude.
I thought the ambulance went right. That's why. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he started walking. I was like,
Started
don't fucking walk.
But bro, didn't you have some woman abusing you, saying that you weren't even
Oh
fucking
yeah.
blind
Like,
and
that was
shit?
last year.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, you're pretending to be blind. It's like, what the?
But how did that even eventuate?
I was just walking like with Lavinia and
Oh,
my
it's because
girl.
you're walking too well.
Yeah, I walk fast. Like
Too
Lavinia's
confident.
yeah. I walk chest out, like, oh, I'm a king of St. Kilda.
Wearing his crown.
Yeah. I got my queen, like 6 foot something, and I'm like walking, like, like I was proud. And next minute, this woman come out of her house and like, that man is pretending to be blind. What do you mean, lady?
What
like,
a miserable bitch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're pretending to
actual,
be
dude.
blind. And Alan's is like, oh, I'm gonna beat this woman. I was like, nah, just keep walking, man.
His
I just-
girlfriend is awesome, man.
Yeah.
She like, she gets so mad.
She gets so mad. So
She gets more mad at things than he does.
yeah,
I bet.
I remember.
Yeah.
Right. This
That's like when I hurt my knee right at jiu-jitsu.
Was Lucy
Luce
furious?
was filming, and on the video, just before she stopped it, she yells out, "What have you done to him?"
You're like, shush, babe, that was me. He didn't do shit to me.
It's fine. I did it to myself.
I remember we were at the gym in St. Kilda, right, the sea bath. We went in there, and then there was a man in the disabled toilet that wasn't disabled, right? So my girlfriend got so mad.
can
She's
imagine
like,
this.
she got so mad. You're not disabled. This is for people only. Like the man's like, oh, but I need to go quickly. Well, you can't see. Use the freaking man toilet, And then she was yelling at them. And I'm like, holy crap! It's like, calm down, And then she went to the manager. And then the manager didn't even care. Like, nah, like anyone can use it. That's not why this is a disabled sign
No,
for
there's
a
a-
reason,
Yeah, there's a.
And like, this is bullshit. Yeah.
Actually, speaking of toilets, there was a
I heard you got stuck.
there was
in
an
one.
ordeal at my my
the
Bucks
bachelor
party.
yeah,
Where you got lost in the bathroom.
Yeah,
is that correct?
yeah. Will like that was all day after drinking. Like that, I haven't drank.
Yeah,
like
like
that.
3 drinks.
Yeah, that's a lot for me. That was a lot for me, bro.
Hey, that's right, bro. I'm a light drunk these days too.
And then it's like, Will's like, oh, I'll be back, bro. I'm going to toilet. So, I'll come with you. And it's like, there was disabled toilet. So I went in there, closed the door, went for a piss, and then I was like, okay, wash my hand, done. Oh, shit, where's the door? I was like, I forgot where the door is. Where's the door? So I didn't want to touch anything because it was by the door.
Yeah.
So I started kicking all the walls, like, and then I just went round and round, like 5 minutes in there, like, where
Kicking
the
everything.
fuck is the door? Finally, like I calmed down, like, all right, listen for the music, like echolocation, like listen to the music.
Yeah, use
And
those good ears. Look at those good ears of yours.
He's like he's as drunk as a bat.
Yeah. I was like, listen for the music, so I didn't like. Oh, so the door must be this way. So I found it, and I'm like, Will's like, you're right. I was like, yeah, bro, I got lost in it. I'd never done that shit in my life. Like, oh, I don't want to be there again. That was a panic attack, man. I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna be trapped here forever. Everyone is drunk.
They're gonna forget about. Yeah, that was
That was
his girlfriend's worry.
Oh, yeah.
Right when I invited him to my box she was like, what happens if everyone gets drunk and they forget about you?
Yeah.
I was like, how the fuck can I forget about a guy walking around with a cane?
she panicked like nothing else. No, I get worried about it. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, what about everyone get drunk and then leave you? And I'm like, they won't leave me. It's like, no, they're gonna leave you. It's like, no, they won't. It's like, oh shit. I was
That said, would you say right now in the world and in the country that we live in,
yeah,
that it is so much more accessible than it's ever been. Like if you were lost, you could use your phone.
My phone, yeah,
right,
exactly.
Find a way home.
Yeah,
and like in regards to like looking after yourself, you've obviously got your NDIS fund.
Exactly.
Like it really helps you.
Yeah.
Just do your everyday stuff.
Sorry, what's an NDS?
National Disability Insurance Scheme.
Yeah,
and you said it's a finder.
It's a fund.
A fund.
A fund.
Yeah, sorry.
So we're really lucky in this country. Like I know a lot of people out there probably don't agree with me because there's like, the funding is not enough, or they're cutting funding. Like, come on, we still at least still get it.
Yeah, if you were in Bali, would you be getting funding?
If we were in Bali or even America or Canada, no countries in this world have NDIS like us.
Yeah, right.
And it costs more than Medicare, and I understand why the government tried to cut it because a lot of people take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty lucky because if I need to go to the shop, I can get a support worker. I can get to the shop, but I can't obviously just walk around and pick whatever I want because I can't see nothing at all, So
you don't know if your steaks are going to be good or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So I get a support worker to help me, and like, where in the world do you get that? You know what I mean? If I want to go cycling, I can get a support worker to do that, or swimming, or whatever. Go to the gym.
Yeah, Kadek has raised money for guide dogs. Victoria, how much money did you raise?
17 grand. Yeah.
Yeah, over
and
10
you
days.
did that riding from Melbourne to Sydney.
Yeah.
And what was the fuck up with that decision?
Oh, I didn't train as much. Going up the hill. Yeah. Everyone told me, it's like, why are you going from Melbourne to Sydney? You should have done Sydney to Melbourne. I said, why? Because Melbourne to Sydney is uphill. And I'm like, too late now, done it. And I didn't know that. It's like, oh, yeah. But you know what? The funny part is, like, not even then, like, not a lot of people believe I could do that, Because I just started tandem cycling, and they're like, oh.
I believed you could.
Oh, you did, but some people didn't.
I've literally seen, from meeting you and seeing how you are as a person, I'm like, like, if you have guidance, and if someone is there to help you if you fall, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna fucking achieve your goals.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm too determined now.
Right? Like, nothing really phases you. You're such a.
Thanks, right? Yeah.
I mean, you're actually like an inspiration to me as well. Like, I don't complain about much from knowing your story, right?
Yeah.
There's like I've hurt my knees, hurt my ankles, got cuts. I don't complain about a lot of things because I'm like, it can definitely be a lot worse.
Yeah.
Right? And no offense to you. It's just something that I've learned from you.
I think
right?
like that sometimes. There's worse people out there than myself.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah, even
man.
I grew up in a third world country, and then I came here and then lost my sight. It's still a lot of people who, like, unfortunately, don't even have food today in 2023. Like,
Yeah, and potentially also blind and starving, right?
And starving, yeah, exactly. And I'm really blessed that I live in this country. Like, I get my cane for free. I got Lavinia, my guard dogs, for free.
Love of your life.
Yeah, like I got
Sorry, Allison.
Yeah, exactly. And I got like computer that I can learn, like they installed Jordats for free, and people in America have to pay that, like 1,400 costs. So imagine, all that, like whatever I need, like NDIS helped me to live independently, and I am so grateful for that. And sometimes I just want to tell people, shut up and stop complaining, But I guess it's not their fault because they grew up given a lot of things in life,
Yeah.
And when you grew up like that, obviously you expect things. Whereas myself, I didn't have a lot of things, so I'm appreciative of the little thing that I have.
It's a very good way to look at it.
Yeah,
right?
that's the piece that I really wanted people to be able to hear. It's all about that perspective.
Yeah.
That you still maintain this kind of attitude despite all of the things that have been so difficult for you to overcome, but at the same time, all of those experiences have obviously made you who you are today.
Yeah,
as a person.
I remember when I rode to Sydney, I got interviewed by Neil Mitchell, and he's like, "Wow, you're so bad luck." And I said, "No, I don't call it bad luck, Neil. I just I was supposed to live this life, Like sometimes I tell people I'm the luckiest human. The way I lost my sight, yes, is unlucky.
You had to learn a lot of lessons to be the person you are.
Yeah, exactly. I learned a lot, and I gained a lot of experience in life as well that I would never gain if I was a sighted man.
Do you feel like you've got a lot of opportunity ahead of you?
Yeah. I like I told Mikael, like I want to become a public speaker one day and become a jiu-jitsu coach. I want to go around communities and talk about mental health, especially with men, young men. It's just afraid to talk about it. You say like, oh, being emotional is a sissy, It's not. You actually become even a better man if you talk about it. Talk about it with your with your counselor or with your people who you trust, you know, talk about it. It's nothing to be ashamed. It makes you stronger. The answer is not killing yourself. That's not the answer.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time when it comes to men's mental health, we kind of look at like the man being like a provider.
Yeah.
Right, and the man's trying to look after everyone else, but not necessarily looking after themselves.
Yeah.
Right, I think it's very important to take a step back and like have that, I guess, introspection and be like, why is my life going down a certain path? What can I do to fix it? And if it's fixable, why have I not started that change?
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, sometimes I feel like I have moments that, don't get me wrong, I'm not always strong. I have my moments where like Alison can tell you this, like sometimes I just like wake up and like be ashamed because I can't go to work like full time like I used to and provide, you know. And Alison always told me I didn't love you for that reason, you know what I mean? And she always bring me back.
You got nothing to be ashamed of, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
You got nothing.
So like, and she said like, one day you'll be rich. I already know. So yeah, thanks, babe. But no, like
if you keep buying those lotto tickets, bro, statistically you should win.
Nah, like I was telling her one day I want to have a place where people can come and belong, you know. Like
yeah, we spoke about this in the car.
In the car,
you know,
yeah.
I want,
yeah.
Like a, and I've always thought the same way. I've always wanted to work with like children or even like foster kids, orphans, you know, and like just have a place for, I guess, outcasts or somewhat outcasts to just belong, kind of like the whole like X-Men thing, you know, with like mutant kids having their fucking school.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of why we always got along.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
exactly.
It's like we always looked at building
way,
like a future generation.
Yeah.
Right?
And I was telling Alison, like, imagine one day like a blind kid come up, like their parent come up to me, I want you to teach my kids jiu-jitsu, you know, and then blind kid become a world champion or an ADCC champion. Imagine that, a blind human being and coached by someone who is blind, you know. That would be an awesome, like, that's
phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah. And I told Alison, I'm going to make that happen. I will make that happen, you know. I'm going to be that coach. I might be not the person to do that, but I am surely going to be the coach that will do that, you know.
So you should, man.
Yeah, I was telling Alison, that's what I want to aim for. I want my student, I don't care if they're blind or not, like, I want them to be the best version of themselves and walk out of the gyms like feeling like this is my community, this is my family, you know. That's where I was looking for, and I found that in jiu-jitsu, you know. I found my friends, I found my community, basically found my family, you know, where I can smile again. Like, even when I roll now, I smile. People's like, why are you smiling? You're getting choked out. It's like, I don't know, bro. I can't help it, you know?
Yeah, I remember when I first met Kadek, and he was like, hey, so
sorry, Mikael, when was that? Was that because in 2019 you were in the hospital for the 5 weeks? Is that you found jiu-jitsu afterwards?
Yeah, afterwards. So what happened was after I learned the cane and I learned my phone, the first thing I created was Facebook, you know? And then I created Facebook, and then all of a sudden this article popped out like about this guy who is blind in New Zealand doing all this jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, what's jiu-jitsu?
Shout out Clinton.
Clinton, yeah. Clinton Terry, the blind grappler from New Zealand, yeah. I read his article and I'm like, man, I could do that. You know, like, why couldn't I do that? So
even though you'd never seen it.
I never seen jiu-jitsu, you know, and I never seen jiu-jitsu. I never done martial art.
He's a fucking madman.
Yeah, I always played footy and rugby, and you know, that was my sport. And I'm like,
were you still big then?
When I played?
No, like in 2019 when you're reading these articles.
I was probably 90 kilos then.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're probably what now, like 82? Like
81.
Like 10.
Yeah.
All right, bro.
Get it right? Nah.
Like 10% smaller.
Yeah. So, I was, read his articles, like, I could do that. And I read his article, like, how he's, because Clinton is not totally, he uses his, like, iPad to see when he coaches, you know? Yeah. And then in my mind, like, oh, maybe, like, can I do it? Because I can't see nothing. And then I went to Google the gym, and Absolute MMA popped up. And I'm like, okay, I'll go to that gym. And I walked up, and then I thought they're going to say no, you know. It's like, oh, I want to do jiu-jitsu. And then the girl there was like, oh, sure. Of course you can. I'm like, yes. They said yes. And then someone will call me, and then that's when Mikael get in contact. That was, I think, February 2020 it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was still like warm then, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember meeting him and him telling me the story. And like I said
before lockdown.
Right before lockdown.
Right before lockdown.
March 5th was my first group class.
Just before lockdown.
Yeah, just before lockdown. And then it took me a while to join because I was like, oh, Mikael, I'm too scared, like because we did private like 4 times by then, and
I was sick of hanging out with him all the once, so I was like, I need you to join a group class.
Yeah, he's like, join the group class. No,
I'm sick of crying in these sessions.
I don't know. So one day I just did it, and then that's when I met Jaden. He armbarred me. From that moment, I was like hooked. Like, what this guy? Like, he didn't take it easy. He just ripped my arm up.
Is it true that Jaden's asked you the stupidest question you've ever been asked?
Yeah, Jaden did. Yeah, that moment, like,
what did he ask you that day?
How do I have a shower?
Yeah.
Like, Jaden, I knew me and he were gonna become good friends.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah. He's a good friend too.
He's a Tassie boy, isn't he?
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah,
He's a Tassie boy.
Yeah, so he asked me
a lot.
He asked me that, and I was just like, I was like, I just hire all this Colombian support worker, beautiful women, and then they shower me. And he's like, really? Nah, bro, I'm just kidding. I wish. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, so like I was saying before, I met Kadek, and I remember he asked me if he could train, and I said, yeah, of course. And he told me a story, and I immediately was like, look, it seems like your goals are different to the regular person that wants a private lesson. Typically, if someone wants a private lesson, they have a goal to achieve. If maybe it's a competition or skilling up or just wanting to try something out. His goal from the start was just to be accepted in a place. Find a community that he was going to be accepted in. So I said, look, man, I don't know if I'm like, I don't even know if I'm a good coach, right? I think I'm okay. And I was like, I can't promise that you'll be amazing at jiu-jitsu. I can't even promise that you'll be good at jiu-jitsu, but I can promise you that in this circle, at least this gym, you'll always feel welcomed and you can come in whenever you want. As long as the door's open, you're always welcome to come onto the mats. And look, I don't think this is to my credit. I think this is to his credit as an individual. He's become a very good jiu-jitsu practitioner since then. He did have time off during the lockdowns. He did train between them. But now he pretty much trains like a professional athlete, 5-6 days a week.
We rolled together. It's no joke.
Yeah. He's strong.
Man, you're the man of steel, bro. I was like, I never felt anybody like you, man. Like, I like you.
Not like Jordan.
Not like Jordan. Jordan's a bit soft, Like when he tried to choke me out, I could use his bicep because he's soft for pillows, So I still can talk. I talk shit to him when he tried to choke me out. But with you, I'm like, what the fuck is the fat?
Is he giving you free membership to say this shit or what?
Oh yeah. So yeah, like so at the beginning, like we just wanted to make friends, and then last year, 2022, Mikael's like, you want to compete? I was like, when? It's like this weekend. It's like 3-4 days away, and I'm like, screw it, why not?
It's probably almost better just to not have too much time to think about it.
Yeah, so
and that was a big learning experience for me as well. The fact that I knew that I had to tell him about the mat space. So I walked to the middle of the mat and be like, all right, I'm about 5 steps this way, and it was a local tournament at Dominance, so I could run around the mat. It wasn't like super official and stuff where I can't do that. But the learning experience I had was I had to be like, okay, I have to describe your opponents to you. Like, this guy's taller than you, this guy's a little bit rounder than you, this guy's shorter than you. This guy's got a big reach on you. He's got he looks like he has strong grips, all that sort of stuff. The thing that I didn't imagine was that intimidation for you and the nervousness for you once you lose grips in a match.
Yeah.
Right, so if he loses the contact...
Because then you're not aware of
where... Well, he just doesn't know where the fuck they are.
And you're saying the length is what's actually intimidating for you because you know that they can reach you before you can reach them.
Well, it's just the fact that they could just have that first touch, right? Like, imagine, it's like kind of rolling with somebody that's better than you, right? Like, they're always a step ahead, and if you literally if he's not attached, even if they're garbage at jiu-jitsu, they're a step ahead because they can make that first step. And so we, change. So that was like a massive learning curve for me in regards to, all right, your open guard has to be different. So his open guard now is turtle. So because with rules formats, they have to come to him, right? And as long as he's protected within that turtle, he can then maneuver around it. So if there's ever a disengage,
so you use it as a point to reestablish contact.
Yeah, because they have to come to him, and they're not throwing his legs from side to side. They're not reaching for his head. They're not grabbing arms. They can only attack the biggest the shell of the body.
Yeah, there's not that much that they can...
There's not much they can do straight off the bat. Obviously, they can take your back and stuff, but they still have to earn that. They don't just, get everything straight away.
But you can still defend the hooks from that
Exactly,
position.
Correct. So we worked a lot on that over time, and I would say he's pretty excellent at that, unless he wants to fuck around. In which case, he gets tapped regularly.
That was a good experience. Though, like.
I'm so hard on him at training. I'm like, why the fuck did you do
what
that?
What are you doing?
Yeah, but I'm sure you appreciate that because I know that you don't like to be treated
Exactly. That's why, like, I want to be better. Like, I just don't want to go to a competition or just for the sake of it. I want to go
win
and win. You know, I don't care if I'm blind or not. Like, I just want to win. Like,
and that was something I told him as well. You know, I was like, look, I promise you that nobody on this entire fucking planet wants to lose to a blind guy. So you're gonna have to be in tip-top shape. I mean, like, from learning about this recently, like, we spoke about cutting weight for Worlds. We're going to Worlds next Friday, so we're actually going to America next Friday, and he wanted to be like, I want to make lightweight, and I was like, look, it's a good experience cutting weight, immersing yourself in that culture. But then from speaking to him and his girlfriend about it, I didn't realize that being blind, it actually takes a massive energy toll on your body. I can't justify him being at a calorie deficit.
Yeah,
going absolutely not. I think we spoke about this last time in terms of like energy expenditure. The brain is a very hungry organ. And you know, I even remember, even though my attendance in uni wasn't great, in the days when I did go.
What did you study at uni?
Marketing and finance.
Okay. That's very different to what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, well, the thing was, right, my career as a professional athlete didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have a plan B. But I knew one of the things that I loved about the idea of becoming a professional athlete was the glitz and the glamour and the dollars, right?
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted money. And I'd seen Wall Street a few too many times. And so I thought...
You're like, where can I get some Quaaludes?
So I was like, no, that one wasn't out then. The original.
Oh, shit. Right,
Charlie Sheen.
Right. I don't think I've actually seen that. What? Yeah, I'm sorry, dude.
We're going to have to do that. We're going to have to do it.
Audio description.
Up and watch it.
Audio description.
I've actually got the poster of that movie in my office at home because it's a part of part of my story, I suppose.
So there were no Quaaludes on.
There was no Quaaludes in the uni days, but the point was that Bronson, get out of it. That I got very hungry.
Yeah.
When you are studying, so I can imagine how much more overdrive your brain is in with those other senses. That's obviously to your point.
Yeah, it burns a lot, especially in comp because the vibe is different in training and competition. Everyone goes faster. Everyone wants to win quick, you know. So everyone goes all out in the comp, and I realized like shit, it's gonna burn a lot of energy in competition. Yeah, I remember the first competition. I thought I was running a marathon. I was like, I told Mikael, I only had one fight, and I was like, I'm dying. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, to be fair, my very first competition, I'm not sure how Jack felt about it for his first match. My very first competition was, and I played sport my whole life, most tired I've ever been in my entire life was the very first time I competed. I have never been so tired in my fucking life before. Just that rigidity and like just feeling like, holy fuck, I could puke.
I probably felt like that more boxing.
Yeah, right.
To be honest, I felt like that, but at the same time, when I fought boxing, I didn't have a great run either. I'd been in Thailand. I went over to Tiger and trained and got really sick when I got home from it and spent 6 days.
You got a really weird relationship with food, huh?
I know. I had 6 days where I couldn't stomach food, was spewing, full gastro spec, and everyone was trying to tell me to pull out of the fight. And the first day I managed to eat something was the day before I fought and did a little mitt session and then fought that next day. So I was so depleted, obviously zapped from that week leading up to the fight. Thankfully still got the win, but then when
that's huge, man.
Yeah.
And then
that's fucking huge.
And I had it. There was a 10 count, and I just spewing, because that's my style. I was like, I'm going for the knockout. That's my style. And I believe that if I hadn't been so sick in the week leading up to it, that would have been...
It would have been more to the punches, right?
That would have been the knockout. That would have been finished. But I was so emotionally drained. Again, there's a theme of me crying here, but I cried in the car on the way home after fighting just because I was just so done.
He's a sensitive new age guy.
Yeah. That's it. I might be hard on the outside, but
I'm the same. Like I'm a crier, I cry easily. Like I remember.
Never cried a day in my life.
Just lie every other day.
Yeah. I remember my last competition as a white belt last year. Like I knew I should have won that, And then obviously stuff happened with my eyes, and I'm like, oh, cry, I told Alison, I can't do this shit, you know. And thank God she was there. She's like, come on, you've been worse than this shit. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, since that first tournament, Kadek has competed a bunch.
Was the first tournament?
Yeah.
Yep.
Was that the one where you were spewing in the bag?
No, that was the last one.
So that wasn't your last one.
No, last as a white belt.
The last as a white belt. So he actually competed really well that day, and I think he would have been the guy that.
Yeah.
Right. We don't like to live in the what ifs, right?
Yeah.
But I think he would have beaten the guy if something didn't happen, because all of a sudden he completely changed in the match.
Yeah.
And I was like, why the fuck isn't he listening to me? He listens to me so well. Like,
I believe you. After
like
those
when
years.
so like when he's, and this is something that I actually enjoy doing as well. I actually really like that nervous, like the butterflies in the tummy sort of feeling. Right.
You like it?
Well, I like it because it makes me feel alive, because I know that I care about something. The task has to be done, and I have to do the task as best I can. And I feel like that before I compete myself, and I only feel like that when I have to be his eyes in a match, right? Like, you've probably noticed, Kadek, but before you compete, I'm like silent.
Yeah.
I get more nervous watching people.
It's like I'll prep him. I'll tell him all these things, but like if he's the next match, I'm like, oh fuck, all right, you can't fuck up. Make sure that like you speak properly.
Yeah.
With diction, you're making like your left and rights are sorted, right? Like make sure all that shit is down to scratch, right? Because you have to make sure that he's gonna listen to you to 100%. Like if I told him left arm goes underhook, and I meant right arm, he's gonna now make a mistake potentially, right? I'd like to think that you have the trust in yourself as well, of course, right?
But you feel a sense of greater responsibility than what you normally do as a coach.
Absolutely, absolutely, right? And like me having to like guide the match down a certain pathway and not use like the right terms. I'm like if I'm like, don't let your opponent underhook you, then the opponent's gonna be like, I'm gonna underhook him, right? Right. So I have to fucking like word that shit wisely in live time, which I think I've done an okay job at. Sometimes I think I've done poorly in other times. Anyway, this other tournament, his last white belt comp, he won a couple matches and lost a couple, and then he managed to place on the podium.
Yeah.
Right. A totally blind guy placing on the podium.
That was awesome.
Has there been times where Mikael's fucked you over with his instructions?
Not that he knows.
Not that I know.
He's unaware of it.
I remember the second comp. That was grappling industry. My first grappling industry.
Oh, where you won your first match?
Yeah,
that was my bet. That was the best moment.
Yeah, I was like win, and then I won the next one 9-0, and then the next one was even 4-4. I should have. I got this freaking Richard. I remember. Thanks for that, Richard.
Yeah, fuck you, Richard.
He gave the decision to the other guy. Like, oh, I swear I got better. But things happen. But that, and then the other one I got way too confident. Like what's that? The Renegade.
The Renegade.
Yeah, I got way too confident going in there. Like I could win this, and then
there was a really weird demeanor about him in the morning.
Yeah.
So like I was like, all right. So he came in super confident to the venue, and I'm like, all right, Kadek, let's get warm. Let's do like some squats and stuff and like some mobility stuff, and he just wouldn't do it. And I was like, what are you doing?
I was like in my mind, like I'm ready.
I'm like, these guys are gonna try and fucking rip your head off, bro. Like it's not like I get that you're good at jiu-jitsu, but they're gonna try and fucking beat you.
That brought me back to
it was the humble. Yeah. It was a humble. It was a humbling experience.
Yeah, the guy was like the first fight, like the guy's like I was just like smashing him like the Hulk, you know. I was like, but he's
in his mind he was smashing this guy like the Hulk, right?
Yeah,
but it was like Kadek. It was like in his mind there was like 30 seconds to a minute left.
Yeah.
And the match had just started.
Yeah.
So Kadek's fucking throwing down, trying to choke this guy, and he's like, oh, he's like getting all mad and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is this, bro?
And then he armbarred me.
You were fighting. You weren't doing jiu-jitsu.
I was like, what the fuck is this? You never do this.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what? Like, and then he armbarred me.
That's that adrenaline dump, huh?
Yeah.
I pulled him aside and was like,
yeah,
if you ever do that again, I'm going to slap you.
I told him to slap me. You know?
I still have yet to slap you, all right? But I would.
Yeah. And then the second fight, like, I started pretty crap, but then I came back. And then I was like, all right, this is the jiu-jitsu I want to do, you know? I lost still by, like 1 point or 2 points.
You lost by 1 point.
1 point, yeah.
But the complete opposite, he went into the second match like he was walking Xanax, and the guy scored a bunch of points, and then he came back and was winning.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't winning, but he finished the match in a dominant position.
You kind of went from one extreme to the other. You
Yeah,
came
to
out like
the
a
other.
bull out of the gates, and then you've gone, I'm going to go slow roll.
Yeah, I remember at the end of the day, I was like, I'm really glad you made me drive all the way here to coach you.
I remember that because Alice is like, you're not getting fried chicken today. Oh. So, but you know what? That was a good experience because it brought me back, and I'm like, all right, dickhead, like just do jiu-jitsu. Stop freaking being an idiot, you know. Just stick to what you know and stop being the Hulk. You know.
Well, it's not so much stop being the Hulk, right? But it's like train intelligently, compete intelligently, right?
Exactly,
If you throw that out of look, if your best attribute was to fucking see red and just go berserk on someone, sure, use that, but that's not your best attribute. So why would you do that?
Exactly, yeah. That was a good experience, and then I think the best competition for me was like I didn't know I was getting my blue belt this year, like in Jan, and I was like so.
I told his girlfriend to bring because. I mean, clearly, he doesn't want to. So the grading was in the city, the promotion day, the grading, and I was like, "Are you gonna come?" And he was like, "Nah, it's in the city. Like, fuck that shit. Let's have to get there and stuff." And I was like, "How do I fucking convince him to come to the grading?"
Yeah,
so
without giving it away.
Yeah, so I messaged his girlfriend and was like, "I need you to get Kadek to the grading because I wanna surprise give him his blue belt."
Yeah.
And so he just sat there with her waiting and I guess spectating, and. and the second I called his name out to give him his blue belt, it was like the guy that walked in on that first day of jiu-jitsu. He was shocked, and he was like shoulders were rolled forwards. He's like, oh fuck, I'm competing tomorrow.
I'm competing tomorrow. What's going on? I'm competing in blue and and I'm like, what the heck?
Oh yeah, and I messaged Ben as well. I was like, I need you to change Kadek's registration. He's gonna register as a white belt. I need you to change it when we're all at the grading, and he's not gonna check his phone.
Yeah.
Change it to blue belt. Then so Ben did do that.
Yeah.
And you competed at blue belt.
Yeah, to me that was the best because it was a good experience. Like even though I got slaughtered, but I went out there. I didn't bail, you know. I didn't give back down. I just got my blue belt.
I would say Kadek over respected his opponents were good. I would say he over respected them, and he maybe put them on a pedestal, and then he wasn't ready to pull the trigger on techniques.
Yeah. So that was good. And and then the next comp is the world. So in Long Beach.
You've competed once since then.
So was it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when you hurt your arm.
Yeah, you hurt my arm. Yeah.
So was this first time blue belt? Was that when you were spewing in the bag?
No, that was the last white belt.
Last white belt. Yeah.
So when he placed, I was like, look, a blind guy's placed on the podium. He's getting his fucking blue belt.
And that just happened halfway through your last match, didn't it?
The second last.
Yeah.
Yeah. So correct. So. I didn't know this as well,
you
but
described the pain as
there's
there's
a liquid in your eye.
Yeah, silicone oil that hold my retina down. Yeah.
And what happens to it?
And it moved, and then obviously once that moved, the pain is just unbearable, and then my head just started to spin, you know, and I'm like, what am I doing? I think I was up 3-0 then. I think you're
up 5-0, bro. I think you were up 5-0.
Something like that.
I think it was a sweep into a pass, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And then I was up, and all of a sudden, 3 minutes in, I think it was? 3, 4?
Yeah, it's a 5-minute match.
Yeah. Something and then the oil moved, and I'm like, oh, fuck. And then the guy passed me, got me, and I'm like...
In mount, right? You got
in mount, and I'm like, I just couldn't move. I was just such in pain, you know, what am I going to do now? So, but I didn't want to get sub, you know, just whatever you do, just don't get sub. So I tried to hold on my vomit in my mouth, tried to breathe, and try to handle the guy. I was like, shit, this is hard.
A lot of variables going on.
Yeah, and then a lot, and then he obviously, in the end, he won by 2. And then I was so devastated. I was like, the first thing when the umpire's like, oh, come back in the middle, and all I could say is, I'm going to vomit. Alison knew what was going on because obviously she knows everything about my medical history, you know. So she knew, and I'm like, bag, and oh shit, we don't have bags. And then one of the girls from the gym got us a bag, and I just went, bruh.
Didn't you say it was one of the biggest vomits you've ever seen?
Well, I just didn't know how much. I didn't know that there could be so much liquid in a person's body that could be excreted. I don't even was most of it bile?
Yeah, that and the Gatorade.
Because I've been sick many times in regards to like gastro, just like food poisoning and stuff. And when I vomit, it's like whatever I've ingested comes back out, and then like a little bit of bile until I'm like depleted and I feel fucked, right? but when he was vomiting, it was like it was like he had just drank like 5 liters of water, and it was just all coming out. And I was like, we're gonna need another bag.
Yeah, we got another. Yeah,
it was like a fountain of spray. It's what I imagine a fucking Viking vomiting from having a night out on the beers. You know, I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I'm like, look, we can call it now, but you have one more match. And he was like, I'll do it. And I was like, you know, you don't have to. Like,
fucking savage.
I didn't want to give up, bro. Like Alice was like, nah, come on, we gotta go to hospital. Like, nah. Just let me finish. I don't want to give up. Like, I just want to go in there. And then, obviously, I went in there. And then I got subbed. And I was like, okay, I need to vomit again.
Yeah.
You know, like, I just wanted to go in there. Like, I know I didn't. I tried to give it all. But, obviously, that's all I had, you know.
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing about, like, learning from Kadek is... And learning from him, like, truly is just, like, not actually giving a fuck what other people think about you in like those circumstances. Like, I think most people, to hide face, right, they would have been like, nah, I'm not competing, I'm gonna get smoked. And he's like, nah, I don't care if I get smoked.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what you guys think. I'm just gonna go out there and prove to myself that that I'm this tough and I'm like this good and I'm like capable in my abilities to somewhat try my best. And I think that's probably a lesson that I've learned from him, and like I hope I continue doing in facets of life.
I just didn't want to quit, you know. Like, even though the pain was there, I didn't want to quit. Like, I came all, like...
It looked painful.
Through all the other pain that I've been in my life, like, the physical, the mental, all those traumas I've been through, like, this is nothing. Like, I keep telling myself, this is nothing, mate. Like, it's only for a few minutes, you know. Like, you spend, like, 31 years of your life, like, gone through all that shit. This is nothing. So just go back in there, and then we go to hospital after. So I went back in and then... got the medal and was like, all right, let's go to hospital.
Yeah, I called like doctors I knew, and I'm like, what should I do? Because this guy does not want to be in hospital.
Yeah, nah.
And they were like, it's on a Sunday, like it has to be, like unfortunately.
Yeah. And then,
but they did look after you, right?
Yeah, they took care of me in Alfred Hospital. Shout out Alfred. And then came back on Monday, and then when the doctor looked at it properly, he's like, your eyes is basically dying, you know, because there's not a lot of liquid, you know. Obviously your eyeball is made like with liquid, you know, holding it together. Obviously mine's not producing. My left eye is like the pressure's high. Look like I'll always get punched because it's swollen all the time, you know. My right is shrinking, and I'm like, so they gave me a choice: either come back and like now and then to get injection for the pain, take your eyeballs out and put artificial, you know.
Artificial eyes, yeah.
Yeah, artificial eyes, and I'm like, no, I'm not ready for any of that. What's the third option is just try CBD oil, so it works.
And I think CBD is the best thing for your pain management.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I just got Jordan gave me CBD oil and tried it. And
Are you allowed to say that?
Huh?
Too late now.
Are we allowed to say that? Are we allowed to say that?
Why not?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't have rules on this podcast. Even when you were saying the C word before, I was like, you can say cunt.
Yeah. No, he's a gentleman, man. He's a gentleman. He's a better guy than us.
He's better than us.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I think that's very evident.
Yeah.
I got the CBD oil and then at work, and I'm like, you know what? As long as this is work, I'm gonna delay getting my artificial because I don't want to go through all this recovery, and I definitely don't want an injection in my eyeball because I had it before and nah, no thank you.
An injection in the eyeball almost sounds scarier than taking the eyeball out.
He's a menace though, because like I didn't even realize this until we spoke last time when you deleted the podcast. But I'm like, why do you compete with your eyes open? Like I would feel like I would need to protect my eyes because you feel pain.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And like, surely like you want to brace for it constantly instead of like just having it out there because your hands are doing stuff.
Yeah.
Right. You're like obviously grappling with somebody and like someone can be flailing their fucking legs around, toes around, elbows around and shit. Like, do you ever get poked in the eye and is that fucking excruciating?
But when you compete, and I'm going to be really mindful of trying not to choose the wrong words like stick here, but you wear a mask and eye fold.
No, only for training.
Only at training.
Yeah, because lights. So he was telling me that he has to wear the eye mask because the lights can sometimes give him a migraine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
okay, that makes sense.
So it's only in training because obviously in training you can, but in competition you can't wear any like headgears, you know.
Yeah.
So I just here we go. Fortunately, I haven't been poking a comp yet. Knock on wood. Hopefully, it never happen.
Yeah. I mean, I just like I want you to have a jitsu to where like you're like you're protecting your head, always anyway. Right. So I think I've done a semi decent job in like teaching you how to like protect yourself.
Yeah. And
except you get underhooked like a fucking monkey.
A lot.
But
A stupid underhook. I guess I could probably tape my eyes, but then I don't want to ruin my beautiful eyelashes, because they're curled up.
You're right. It is beautiful. You shouldn't.
So I was like, nah. I just leave. In my mind's like they're already fucked anyway. So what's the point?
But I can speak on the matter that it is sad to say goodbye to a body part.
Yeah. That's why I don't want to.
Have you heard Jack's story?
No.
I got diagnosed with testicular cancer in the middle of lockdown in COVID. So that was a pretty quick turnaround as well. From the moment that I found that out to then having surgery to remove the testicle, and they take it out through your abdomen.
Wow.
They cut here?
They cut it out through your abdomen. So
yeah,
I've got but in a weird way, one of the thoughts wasn't necessarily immediate, but it came pretty soon. Was I kind of now knew what it felt like to have a C-section, so I kind of had a bit of empathy and understanding on what a lot of my female clients or just the other half have to sort of go through. But the point being is that you do take some time to grieve the loss of that body part, and it comes with its I'm not going to complain, but the challenges of and insecurities of how you feel, and especially in that area in regards to your manhood and your masculinity and what other people are going to think or feel, and is everything in that area still going to function and stuff, and it's just
I mean, obviously like a big guy, been in the gym for I don't know how many years, but obviously there was probably once upon a time where you took a lot of pride in how fucking big you could get.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, 100%.
And that was a big part of your identity, just like you and your learning, right? Like you were a visual learner and you built things.
Yeah.
And like for you, Jack, you're like a big guy trying to hit like these body peak limits and like optimization to the extreme. And like obviously for males, like testicles are like super important for like the growth and like, I guess like the protein synthesis and like all that sort of shit.
Well,
right?
the engine room for your testosterone production, and it's funny. Like I still always say nuts.
Yeah.
And I don't have nuts. I've got nut. And I laugh about it, but it's still, I notice when I say it, because you've said it that way for years.
Yeah.
That I feel awkward in myself for kind of saying it.
There's like a moment where you got to like.
You're like, I'm wrong in saying that. And no one else would necessarily even pick up on it. But it's one of those ones that feels a bit funny sometimes. Why do they
have to cut it from the abdomen? Why?
So basically, they take your spermic tubes and everything out.
Is that
as well
by the abdomen?
Yeah, so they cut through your abdomen and then they dig down, they take the testicle and the spermic tubes and everything out through your stomach, and they do that because at that point in time they don't know how far along you are with your diagnosis as well, but there's more chance of that cancer being left behind and then spreading throughout other parts of the body.
So protect everything else.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But like I've had 4 surgeries in the last 2 years, and I've had, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 surgeries in my life now, and a lot of injuries.
I've had the knife a lot, huh?
I've had maybe 70 stitches in my head, and I've had plenty of injuries, and that one, waking up with that though was a different pain. Like it's kind of like when no one's even had sore abs before. And then you realize how much your abs are involved with every single little movement or laughter, and it took me a good week to probably be able to walk again after that. It was
really a week.
Yeah, I reckon I was.
Fuck.
I was.
I got no idea.
Limping bad. That was hard, and
it was probably also like a very fucking rough time mentally, right? Like,
it was again, right? Like I got home from surgery, and that was the day that there was meant to be a release of things opening back up, and the gym was shut, but the brothels were open. And so like it just, I just felt like I couldn't really catch a break in that moment. But then ongoing as well is I still have numbness that runs sort of from like the inside of my thigh, where and even like through my pubic region, it still feels really numb and swollen, and that's just because, you know, that's a highly sensitive area. They've cut through nerves, and one of the nerves actually was really aggravated, and the only way I could describe this was it was like I had like a pea-sized marble at the base of my dick. That was a nerve that was hella angry, and bro,
like on fire kind of pain.
It was like my dick was in a PowerPoint. like it. You know what nerve pain's like in your teeth or something like that. Like to have that shooting from the inside of your thigh through your pubic region and the shaft of your dick, and that same nerve runs up into your ribs.
Yeah.
So I was getting a lot of nerve pain there for a while, and it was a rough process, but at the same time, man, like I'm fine. Like people ask me about, you know, whether I'm stressed about it, because I was told that, you know, you've probably got a 20% likelihood of it returning statistically, because they don't biopsy it.
You mean over X amount of years, or like?
That was over 5 years.
Okay.
And the greatest likelihood of it returning was in probably the 18 months statistically. Okay. What goes on, because they don't biopsy it until after it's obviously been removed, and at that point in time, I hadn't even thought about chemo, and then you get that, and you're like, fuck, right? And that was what I was really scared of. To be honest, I was more scared of chemo than I was losing my.
It actually sounds fucking terrifying.
Yeah. And I really didn't want to do that, and again, because I have an understanding on it and understand that it's not going to just kill the cancerous cells.
It just makes you really
a lot of
the
good cells as well, right? It's going to take years.
Yeah.
You know, and so I was like, so what happens if I do chemo? And they're like, okay, your percentage will probably come down to 5%. And I was like, okay, so what's the alternative? And they go, well, we can monitor you really closely, which is what I decided to do. And then if the cancer comes back, then we do chemo. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna do it now if that's what the result's going to be, right? So basically I was in the hospital monthly and blood tests every month, and in the hospital every month for the first 18 months, doing chest scans, pelvic scans, blood tests, the works, right? Because again, one of the things is that if my cancer comes back, it's still going to be testicular cancer, but it's going to be somewhere else in my body. And I didn't understand this, like Lance Armstrong, he got testicular cancer that spread to his brain.
Yeah.
And so, in a way, Kadek, is if I got testicular cancer in my other testicle, it would kind of be as much bad luck as you with your eyes.
It's like mutually exclusive
I got it
events.
twice, you know.
Should buy the lotto, bro.
You know, I've learned a lot in the process, but, you know, I like my chances, and I was like, no, I don't want to go down the chemo route. And thankfully, you know, I've got past the riskier period of it, but you know, it's come with challenges like the cancer and the stress and everything as well. And you know, when I got told that I had cancer, like my reaction was that I went on a bender, and that's probably not the greatest thing to have done for my health, but it's how I dealt with it for the first few days, really. Yeah. And you know that it completely fucked my fertility, and then they were the things that they wanted you to you know, to try and get sorted, like get sperm on ice before the surgery and before chemo, and then that came back dead. And, you know, it's been a road to getting, you know, my fertility back, and thankfully that's worked out, and I've got sperm on ice just in case as an insurance down the line. But, you know, people will say to me, they're like, oh, do you not worry? Like, do you not worry about it coming back? And if anything, bro, like I probably think that, you know, I did my head in, right? In that lockdown period, because I had nothing to do but sit with it
and worry
as well, worrying, right? Yeah. And I'm like, how the fuck has this happened to me? I'm a health coach, and I had a lot of these irrational thoughts. I'm like, you're a fraud. Like, you know, everything that you're preaching, but like you're clearly not healthy. And,
I think you're healthy.
Yeah, I get it. These were irrational thoughts, right? But and I'm never going to get to the answer to that question. It's impossible. And I think it was just a perfect storm of so many different factors that contribute to these epigenetic expressions and things. But the number one thing that it could probably come down to was maybe an overarching theme of stress. So in my conclusion to that is, when we look at anxiety and these kinds of issues anyway, it's essentially you worrying about things that haven't even happened yet. Yeah. So by me worrying about something that may or may not even happen is only going to probably increase the likelihood of that thing that I'm worrying about happen to begin with. And, you know, you kind of, you talked about like, you know, masculinity and testosterone and all those kinds of things before. It's, you know, I've explored it in so many different avenues as well. When you look at the metaphysical reasons of, you know, testicular issues, particularly on the right side of the body.
Yeah.
And, you know, then I had kidney stones after that, and then had to have a stent fed through my cock and stay in there for 3.5 weeks, and was pissing razor blades and blood 35 times a day.
So if you want to have hard muscles, this is
how you do it.
This is the price. This is the price you got to pay.
But I'm like, so what the fuck is going on with my body?
Yeah.
But you look at the metaphysical reasons on those things, and a lot of it was probably to do with, like, you know, unresolved anger and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't think that's the reason why I got it, but that sure as hell ain't a lie. And like I said, growing up and all through those years, I had a lot of anger, and I had a lot of sadness of my own version of depression and things. But that's where the gym was a beautiful thing for me, is in the same way that jiu-jitsu has become a beautiful thing for you, because it was a way for me to be able to really channel a lot of pent-up aggression,
but also
into
things
a
like,
positive
I think
way.
it's also like, so I've always been a big fan of saying, do what makes you happy, but also do what gives you a sense of duty.
Yeah.
Right. So like, if your like goal is to be happy, if that correlates with your duty of being healthier and bigger and like achieving those goals, you're gonna be the best version of yourself effectively.
Man, and I don't. But you know what? I agree with what you're saying. But mine wasn't to be happy, right? So I grew up with that anger, maybe some insecurities, and like I said, I'd failed with sport, and because of my old man being a professional sportsman, I'm probably one of the best well-known sportsmen in Australia. There was a lot of footsteps there to fill, and not being able to do that, and that had nothing to do with skill. That was, now I can look back on that, that's performance anxiety, and I didn't have the psychology that I needed to be able to perform. I froze because at training, I was the best. But on game day, I was crippled with fear of disappointing and falling short, I suppose. Exactly. So, you know, I had a lot of anger, and then I had a lot of attention, and there was some violence and things. So I was like, I'm going to control the controllables. I'm going to be the biggest, strongest motherfucker, and nobody is going to hurt me. Nobody.
That's the JT approach.
Nobody's going to touch me, and they can line up, and they did. And there was still, I'm not going to sook about that, because there was a lot of that I could have avoided, which I chose not to, and I had a lot of fun with it as well. Yeah. But
what was the biggest you got?
The biggest I got was about 96 kilos, but I was probably never cracked 100. I tried, but I was, you know.
How tall are you?
Me, I'm 5'9", 5'10" in shoes maybe, but I was probably 6% body fat at that weight. Oof. I was, you know, benching I nearly got 200 kilos on the bench press.
Yeah.
I was bench pressing 195, deadlifting 270, squatting 250. So that was some good numbers.
Squatting 250?
Yeah. But the point...
It's a shame your search is a bit low.
Give me a few weeks. The ego's still there a little bit. But the point being is I started to deal with my shit.
Yeah.
Right? I started to be able to connect the dots where I can even tell this story.
Of course.
And in the healing of that process, I'm not so angry anymore. So I kind of forgot I didn't know how to train. That was my card. You know, that was the only way I knew how to do it. I've never been the guy that had the perfect programming that we were talking about, but I knew how to push. Yeah. And I would push harder than anybody.
Get the fucking weight
in the weight room. I would tap into some really fucked up shit. Like I would even sit there. I know this is horrible to say, but I'd go on a hack squat and I would have 6 plates aside. And my thought process, the imagination, I'd create the situation myself. I was like, somebody's got a gun to your sister's head and they're going to pull that trigger if you don't do 10 reps. I'd do 50.
Yeah.
Like I just keep going. And that was the psychology that I lived in at the time. Yeah. But as I've dealt with my shit, which thank God I have, because that was no way to be living.
How much ammonia were you sniffing?
No, never. That's never been my thing. Never been my thing. I've tried it once or twice. And
I've never tried it either.
It's not my thing. And,
how about pre-workout? You ever take pre-workout for that shit?
No, it's never really my thing either.
Yeah, neither, dude. But some people fucking love that shit. Some people love
it. So yeah, since I've actually been a happier person, I kind of been like, I don't really need to train like this anymore. I'm not actually that angry. I can't be pushing. Like,
Kadek still thinks you're hard though, mate.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate these compliments. Help my insecurities now that I've still got it a little bit. Right, but that's kind of what opened the doors for jiu-jitsu. I found a new form of exercise that's now serving me in a really positive way. And that doesn't mean that I don't like doing the weights and I don't do it, but it's got a much different intention and a very different purpose behind it, you know?
Well, I just wanted to say, there's a couple of things just before we wrap up, but I did want to say to the both of you guys, it seems to me, and you can disagree, that throughout the years of knowing you both, that right now, like this year and where this year's headed, this is probably the happiest I've seen you guys. And that means a lot to me as a friend. Like, I'm happy that you guys are happy. Is this true? Is it like the happiest you've been?
It's definitely true, man. It is.
How about for you?
Yeah, definitely.
It's actually insane and incredible. Insane and incredible that it took you to lose both your eyes to be in, like, the positive place that you are now. You know, like...
And
like you said, like, it was clearly meant to be your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's just the way I was meant to be living, you know? And now I have really great friend who accepted me just the way I am, you know?
Yeah, Jack's a good dude.
Yeah, exactly. And then I have a partner who is met me the way I am, and she accepted me the way I am.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't beat that, you know? And when people just accept you just for the way you are, like I said to you before, I could never take off my shirt at the beach for a long time.
Yeah.
And it took my girlfriend, only last year, that I took my shirt off at the beach.
I mean, you're fitter than most people on the planet, bro. You absolutely are fitter than most people on the planet.
But even,
100%.
Even I'm fit. Like, I was in my mind, like, I'm so... Because I can't see, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, maybe like the... I get it. Anyway, I had one last question for you.
What's that?
All right. If out of everything you miss seeing since you've lost your sight, what do you miss?
Honest answer? Oh, me doing public speaking answer.
Well,
so I
want you to give me both answers.
You shouldn't break it down.
Give me
It should be the
both
same answer every time.
No, because I'm...
Fuck what they think, bro.
when I do public speaking, I go to my second thing that I miss, which is like seeing sunset, even birds flying and all that, you know?
That's the second thing you miss?
That's the second thing I miss.
Out of all the things, that's the second thing?
That's the second thing I miss is sunset and, you know, all that sunrise and all that. But the first thing that I truly, truly miss is the beautiful naked women with beautiful titties. that's what I truly miss seeing, you know? Like I know I can touch now, but it's nothing better when you just look at a beautiful woman, you know? Like, wow, she's gorgeous, you know? And you see it in front of you. It's different, you know? And yeah, I miss that, yeah.
We're simple creatures, really, aren't we?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right, that's a wrap. I think that's a perfect place to finish. Brother, thank you again for coming in.
All good, bro. All good.
Yeah, thank you for coming in.
That's all good. Thanks for having me.
And I also wanted to say just before, like, we shoot off in regards to his athletic career, Kadek is going to work on marketing himself better, but he is looking for sponsors. Obviously, he's competing at Worlds in a couple of weeks. I'll be there with him, but his plan is to pursue jiu-jitsu as an athlete for as long as he can, and then to become a coach. He also wants to delve into, like you mentioned before, men's mental health and mental health in general, and try and support the people. I think it's very admirable that he wants to give back, considering what's happened to him in his lifetime. Obviously, he's had great experiences with people like his grandparents, but he's also had very toxic experiences. And I think full circle, he wants to leave the place or leave the world a better place.
Yeah,
I have no doubt that you're going to do that, man, because
Thanks,
you inspire me and you help me with the, put my things into perspective. You know, every day is a better day than what a lot of people are having, you know.
And into that, yeah.
So good luck in
Thanks,
the States. And when you're home, let's do some weights. Let's get you back in on the podcast. We can help you with that marketing. I want to hear about your experiences, and we can even do some weights. Yeah,
he's gonna be heavier than be heavier than you soon, Jack.
Yeah, I know the direction.
I'm gonna have an 8-pack
away. Beautiful.
All right, let's wrap it up, and let's see if we have this recorded this time.
Yeah, we fucking better. Third time I'm out. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that shit. Help us out.